for money. Just don't tell WePlay about it. Wisp Gyro, another example of an awesome opening combination. When you already feel like you're the better team, just straight up, it's Wisp Gyro. This is probably the strongest combination that has persisted for years. Like 5-6 years now, it feels.
Yeah, these two heroes go way, way back. Like, they've been nerfed, but somehow always managed to be paired up together. It's unconditional love.
Sure. I wouldn't know what that feels like.
You will do one day, I'm sure, Carl.
Really?
Yeah, I promise you.
Don't make promises you can't keep, man.
I can keep.
So Lina Enchantress as an opener, yeah, that doesn't like seem particularly strong.
No.
Like, well, what are these two heroes? It seems like someone ran those.
Stop being rude.
I'm not rude. It's the feeling that I get. Like, what are you trying to achieve with these two heroes? Like,
Costa's looking for logic, Kyle, and he sees none in front of him, and he calls it as he sees it.
So, yeah, and they just got clockworked.
okay, this is the issue. Like, you have two heroes who can't get out of the cogs, and they have no escape mechanism. And there's going to be like another. Yeah, just go on, go on.
The trouble is that usually you want your opener to complement each other, whereas Lina and Enchantress are both weak against the same things. And now you pick Underlord into Clockwork. This is already an insane clock game, because no matter what role he is, wherever lane he is in, he's going to have an advantageous matchup in a side lane. He'll be able to kill somebody. And I don't know if Underlord Lina is... And now they pick Void?
You said you wanted something crazy from Empire. Maybe this is it. They've just lost their mind.
Well, I don't want to be rude anymore. Just do it yourself.
No, you take this.
It's like, you tell him,
Talk about the draft, Lacoste. What do you think?
Yeah, these two heroes, first three heroes, are very vulnerable to Clockwork, and especially against the Batrider. Also, Faceless Void doesn't love to play into that hero. Now, at least Viking doesn't have like a real save. You have a relocate, but it's not a swap, much harder to execute. But I don't see too much synergy between the four heroes of Team Empire.
Well, in concept, they all play really well around the chrono, but they
had that in the previous game.
Yeah, that's my concern as well. I've always liked Underlord and Void as like a matchup, because Underlord, his Q actually does significant amounts of damage, and you have nice area control, so it's really tough to play into these two heroes in a choke point. And in addition, after you use Chrono in the late game, Underlord gives you this free Uber out. So you can blow your spells a little early or perhaps ineffectively, and then you're still going to have this escape mechanism instead of just being forced to sack heroes on the retreat. I like the Quap ban, make them play a different hero. It makes sense. But Empire, you got to pick some kind of win condition here, and I don't really know what that is. You need tower pressure, because that's what was missing from the previous game as well. But it's just very limited. With Quap banned, you could theoretically go for something like a Puck, but none of the heroes with natural escape mechanisms to get out of cogs are still available. Like no Quap, no Morph, no Storm, no Void, no Ember. What's next? What do you even go for? The cost.
That's a good question. Like, Banks, give me some stats about Lina. I think she's
100% at the moment.
100%, like 6 out of 6.
6 out of 6.
Yeah, I remember correctly. So maybe they just went with that. You know, let's check the Dota buff, see the win percentages, and it's a flex hero. It can be played at mid. It can be played as a position 4. So everything's still opened up for them.
Good point. You just go based off the win rates.
Enchantress is 7 for 13.
I will say that's something I think more teams should just do more often, at least like once a month. Just go check your Dota buff and look at what heroes are good in the patch, but specifically what heroes does my team play well. Because I remember looking at it, we went over our stats over like a 3-month period back when I was on call, and we realized that we had like some absurd scrims plus matches win rate with Spirit Breaker, which was pretty much the identity of our team if you knew us back then. But we'd won like 17 out of 21 games with the hero.
Didn't you have
we should probably pick this more. Huh?
Didn't you have a Haas for that, to do the stats for you?
Only for a couple of months. And he was usually going off about some random stuff. Supply side economics, like I don't know, the maturation rates of different bonds. Like, it was nothing to do with Dota most of the time.
Like, you need to invest, like when you're younger and stuff.
Yeah.
So what do they take Puck.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a really good Puck game. You have very limited catch. Most of the heroes that can catch Puck build into like faster Orchid, which is Puck vulnerable to, are gone. There's no Queen of Pain. There's no Void Spirit.
Yeah, we were talking about they banned pretty much all the replacements for Puck. He was like the last hero that would not fear Clockwork that could be played in the mid role. And,
Well, you can always get Dragon Knight. I believe it's a guaranteed stun, some tower pressure. He's tanky enough to survive the combo in the Chronosphere, and a good laner against the Puck.
Yep. I like Hunka a lot too against both Void and Underlord. You get the pullback after the
He's
hero.
banned.
You just want something with catch. And that's, of course, why Empire was banning that out in the last phase.
I do that sometimes, just see the ban and then pretend I didn't see it.
I didn't.
And talk about it.
You could go DK.
They can go DK. That's what I just said.
Did he actually just say that? Look at you. Chip off the old
Just
block.
not paying attention.
All right, what's the other option, Kyle? Give me one hero. Like, if you were what Nahaz was, the complexity, what would you suggest?
You could it's tough. And there's so many bans, and they're like all mid heroes. I was thinking maybe a Viper, but that's not realistic. They go for Venge again. So it's bat mid, clock off lane. I don't mind that because it's a pretty sick clock game. We talked about why. And it's just an incredible matchup because a core clock, when you can independently hunt and solo kill both enemy supports, that's pretty sick. It almost guarantees you'll have a nice performance. Your gyro is going to be this hyper carry, so you don't really need something else to soak up CS. You're just going to play as 3 on one half of the map while the Wisp gyro try and eat the rest. Could work.
It's also a possibility that they run like Venge mid, Batrider as position 4, possibly.
Yeah.
Like everything's still open for them. Like, I've seen Thompson playing position 2 Venge.
It could work.
Yeah.
It's pretty okay against Puck too because it's a lower armor hero. You just spam the wave and try and hit him in the face. But the problem is you can juke stun so easily.
Yeah.
I don't know how they'll want to play it out. Maybe he'll just go for the CSing build, like skip stun. Why? Who needs it?
Just max out the aura, and if you die, you're most likely gonna get return kill with the illusion.
It's true.
Now, at one point, it was looking like you were super against everything the Empire was doing, but you've managed to find a little bit of sense in the madness. But you're still not sold at all on it.
I'd still have to lean for Viking. I just think that they're the better team. They've got a chip on their shoulder. They lost the push qualifiers. They really don't want to drop the ball again. They've been working really, really hard. Also, shout out to their coach, Mortal Faith. He actually even posted some chat or voice comms of some of their recent matches, which I wish more teams would be willing to do because it's really nice to get that peek behind the curtain. But I think they're doing a lot of things right, including this draft, and they're going to pull it out.
Well, let's see what these EGB odds are going to be before I ask you, Lacoste, and how it's all going to go down. Still massively favoured for Viking. As is to be expected, they're 1-0 up. It's looking like a 2-0.
Thought they're going to drop after the first game, because Viking just seems like a much, much better team. If you look what Empire did with the draft they had, like, that's not confidence. They seemed pretty lost.
Lacoste. Viking all the way?
Viking all the way. They're one of my favorite teams right now, even though I should stay non-biased.
Yeah, you can hear the bias in your voice. You're very excited. You can tell you're a true fan of
Viking all the way.
Yeah, we're going to go with Viking.
He just sold it with that little bit more emphasis, right?
What was the name of the team again?
Winter Wyvern.
Thankfully, that's not the team there.
He just loves me saying, heroes that has W in the name.
Well, no, Viking does not have a W. That was why I asked you to repeat it.
Can you hear the difference?
Give us one more. Go on.
Viking versus Winter Wyvern.
On that note, we're going to get ourselves into the game. It's back with KP and Pycat. We've had some fun on the panel. It seems like it's Viking all the way. It seems like you boys are going to get a 2-0. Let's watch the madness unfold.
I mean, I hope it's not a 2-0. You know what, Pycat? We got to look on the positive sides here, okay? Judging by Empire's performance in Game 1, it couldn't have been much worse.
That is correct. See, you have this thing going already. The positivity. It's good. Some good vibes. Yeah, it can't really get. I don't think it gets much worse than that. I think. No. Smiling Knight, he wants to redeem himself from last game. I think we're gonna see at least 2 Chronos this game. Hopefully more.
You know what? That's what I was thinking, right? Like, because I was trying to break this down, and I had to do some UK Dota, like 50k MMR logic,
Right.
right? Minus
Yeah.
49k MMR logic.
Yeah.
And then you come to the assessment. The problem is that Smile and Knight, like you saw all these great things they could use in Chrono, like Sonic Wave, Chain Frost. It's like, if they're not already, I don't want a Chrono. But in this game, what's he waiting for? He's waiting for, like, he doesn't have to worry. It's like, a Chrono, can you, like, I don't know, throw out your lose your orb, whatever. There's no big ultimate I have to, like, pair this with.
I see. Okay.
There's no pressure.
I get it. No, I get it. So now he just doesn't have to wait for anything. It's like he can wait for the Lina stun maybe, or the Laguna or something.
You just go. You know, you're like, oh, look at that guy. I think there's a guy there. I mean, I just saw someone farming there 20 seconds ago. Bam, blind through the tree line Chrono.
Yeah. Nah, in all seriousness, I still think that, I mean, I feel like I would favor the Viking GG draft, and I also think that kind of judging from, you know, overall recent performances in last game, they're like expected to take this. They still have the Venge versus the Void, so they're still gonna have this swap if anything happens. In this game, they also have the Wisp to kind of relocate people out of Chrono. Now it can go both ways, where you can kind of end up in the Chrono and, you know, sure, it doesn't work, but they have some ways to deal with this Void. They don't have as easy of a game, I would say, as the last one. You know, there's no Slardar, Magnus, etc. with the Jug, but it definitely has a nice tool. Like Bench Gyro has always been quite the powerhouse once they get the ball rolling.
Yeah, it might be fair to say that, like, Empire, if you go into a farming race with Viking, your odds are a little bit better because you have this Void in the hyper late game scenario still, but then you also have Underlord, Park, even the Lina, these heroes that can shove lanes and actually farm creeps pretty quick. Whereas
the one thing,
have the attack.
Yeah, the one thing that they have going for them this game, at least, like Empire, I would say, is that I think this puck he should do quite okay against the Bad Rider mid. And I also think this is, if anything, this is actually a pretty decent puck game. They have like a very limited amount of disables to kind of catch this puck out. You know, there's maybe the Clockwork hook into some cog pushback. Other than that, maybe the Bad Rider, but those are not the easiest things to get off on a puck if you play it properly.
It's fair you bring that up, because that was something that the panel highlighted, is like, up until that pick, it almost felt like, I want to say Empire, it kind of looked like they covered half their screen, right? Like, they had an idea what they wanted to combo together, but it was never something that dealt with what Viking were bringing out, right? They waited very late into their draft to start picking heroes that do well against Vikings heroes.
Yeah, and I mean, in general, that's not always the case, but, you know, like when you get these late, like the later picks, of course, they're not gonna have as many counters, right? And so maybe he asked for this puck, saying, you know, just give me puck and I'll pop off.
Oh, we've seen that be a very thin line to try and walk in the past here in this tournament so far. Like, puck's this type of hero that you die once or twice and you kind of feel like you lose momentum. Speaking of deaths, Toby is going to be the first blood, and it looks like Arrow should be brought down as well. Throw out the stun and be able to back away. And it looks like Small Knight RNG is in on his side for the secondary.
Yeah, off to a very good start so far. Empire doing really well in all three lanes up top. They're kind of crushing this lane right now. 17-6 versus 7-1. Lina, of course, being a very, very strong support in these type of lanes against these low range heroes. Both Gyro and Wisp are kind of easily... It's easy to hit the stun and keep right-clicking them. And the Underlord with a lot of base damage, easy to CS. Mid lane also doing well. And bottom, we see the first blood. So completely different start this game for Empire than the last game.
Yeah. They do have to be a little bit careful when Viking get free, right? Because that's when a Gyro can try and just pop on for a kill when you got that level 2 Rocket Barrage. But obviously the flip side is, you know, it feels like Underlord, his laning phase usually gets a bit more chill if he gets to level 4-5 without any pressure applied to him.
Yeah, and what I think is also like, yes, there's this idea of Rocket Barrage being useful, you know, level 3, etc. But the issue is that they're always going to have the wave pushing. You know, Empire will always keep pushing this wave. They have Lina stun to push, and they also, of course, have the Firestorm. So the wave is always going to be pushing towards Ike and GG. So running them down against a bunch of creeps, it's not going to be the easiest thing to do. So I'm expecting this lane for Empire top to keep going at least quite well, if not very well.
That's fair. And then you reach your point where Mastery is self-sustained, and that allows James to rotate. And it is a hero that can be effective at that point. Like, you get you to level 6, you've got this big-ass nuke along with a stun. And as you already said, it's a good puck game. If you see those two kind of converge together in that mid-game, It feels like they have the potential to kill anybody on the side of Viking.
Yeah, they're gonna have some opportunities, whether it's the puck rotating towards top or even bottom. The Lina could rotate to mid. Maybe not as likely to go bottom, but it could happen as well. Empire definitely have a lot of possibilities for plays this game.
Yeah, I think mid's a case of you leave it be unless you feel pressured, because you always know that like there's a bigger pressure on Vikings heroes to make something happen, to get value in terms of kills early on. Because on one side it's a clockwork, which I feel like we always talk about this hero. You know, you pick him in the core role, you get him early gold, but he doesn't really have an ability to farm later. He's really kind of pressured into killing. Whereas obviously the Void is kind of content with this farm stasis. And then with the off-lane comparison, Mastery is playing an Underlord. He's happy and content to just end up farming as well.
Yeah, and I think that like while Empire can rotate if they want to, they don't have to at all. You know, by any means, if you're doing well in 3 lanes, there's no real need to try to make any sort of rotations happen. It's kind of up to the enemy to try to make something happen, and you can just respond to whatever it is that's happening.
Mm-hmm. Even if you're just winning 2 lanes, like you're pretty content in most matchups, unless it's something that immediately counts your whole team. You don't really need to respond to it. In fact, it's like one of the big mistakes. We've all had that in our own experiences in our pub games, right? Like your mid, he dies once. He's like, everyone come mid or I'm going to delete my items. I'm not naming any names, but you know the people. And you go, dude, just chill. We're winning 2 lanes right now. We can win the game.
I mean, who were you thinking about, though?
There's plenty of names that I've heard of. I've seen a few myself.
Yeah.
I mean, you got any you wanna share? Is there an infamous person in your pub game?
Just trying to see if you want to make any call outs, you know, any of them. The angry mids.
The angry mids. I mean, I'll actually be honest, these days, I don't usually get the angry mids. I get the clowny mids. They win their lane, and then they find really stupid ways to lose the game.
Okay, yeah. That can be equally as frustrating. Nah, not really, though.
No, you kind of giggle
angry
along the
mids,
way.
yeah.
Like, yeah. You have to.
just roll with it.
Yeah, I think my favorite one was, when you just had like your AM supports a year or 2 ago, and they complete dumpstered the map, and then 20 minutes in, they just beat every fight. I mean, it was entertaining to watch while it worked.
As you should with an anti-mage support.
And I tried it recently. I didn't even know what to build. I felt spoiled. But in this game, the builds should be a little bit more clear. I don't think there's any kind of diversification from your standards, right? You're going to see probably Lightless take these initiation type items to set up for the Void, and then for Viking, it really is all about this hard right-clicking pulse 1 and all the utility in the world to set up him in the fights.
Yeah, there's some kind of clear-cut ways of playing this game, and also what's kind of nice for Empire this game is that they have some pretty good wave clear now. They have Alina, they have Puck, and Underlord, so Faceless Void's job is not going to be as difficult. Like, one of the more difficult things for Faceless Void is when you have to be showing constantly on the map, and then also you're expected to get Chronos off. That's a very difficult thing to do, but when you have these type of heroes, it's much more easy for you to just go farm jungle. Yeah, and your lanes will still be pushed. And so coming out of, out of fog or out of somewhere where they don't know where you are, it's much easier to hit Chronos.
Yeah, I kind of felt like the full way I read that is there's less pressure for him to get good Chronos, which is what we needed to see. And to be honest, he's off to one hell of a start. He's already been involved in the same amount of kills as he was at the end of that 36-minute game earlier. So we're looking up here. And this also means the pace setter for Viking, this clockwork, is already having his head just muddled in the dirt a little bit.
Yeah, Toby not off to the best start so far. It is a pretty decent clock game, I would say, if he gets to, his level 6, 7, whatever. He has a lot of targets in the Enchantress. Even to some extent, the Underlord and Lina can all kind of be killed by this clockwork.
Yeah, it's just, do you think there's a case of too many targets syndrome where, like, you feel like there's so many valid targets that it's kind of like those games where people give Doom so many high priority targets that, well, even once you've used your ultimate, we still have these big team fight spells to beat you with.
Nah, I don't really think you can have too many easy targets. It's just, take your pick.
You see, you kill. You don't care what it is, other than maybe like the puck.
I think later on in the game, once you realize, kind of what heroes need to be focused in team fights, then you can change your priorities. But having easy targets to kill across the map is always nice.
Yeah, and considering it's Clockwork for heroes, his ultimate is a very low cooldown. It's not as if you feel kind of pressured into this kill needs to happen, but then I don't have my main spell for 2 minutes.
Yeah, and we're gonna see this rotation up here from the puck, and I don't actually like this. I don't think this is necessary at all. Like, they're already pressuring this lane, and the gyro is not, he's not free farming by any means. Yes, they have a catapult, so it's okay, but this kind of just shows the Batrider that, you know, you can just sit here at mid and you can just farm and push out this lane. Maybe you're not going to take the tower, and, you know, maybe they'll do quite a lot of damage up to this top tower or even take it, but you're kind of just showing, like, you're showing up with this puck and you're not really accomplishing anything.
No, it does feel a little bit floppy. I mean, they've done most of the damage to the tower. And of course, the thing that makes this not too bad of a time is the fact that Boom didn't have a catapult in the mid lane to push in response. So they will lose the tier 1. And it looks like overall, you can see Boom is moving back and forth. He gets his room, but like, it's almost as if he wasn't sure if he should be coming top to commit to a fight or not.
Just as I envisaged.
Yeah, I don't really think you want to be going up there. You're just going to run into a coil and some spells, some Lina spells, some Underlord, Firestorm, and whatnot. I think you're kind of just content farming. He just gets to keep farming. He's gonna look to get these BOTs. And so far, when I've seen Bats do this, I haven't been very impressed, but maybe this is the one.
Maybe, because I mean, this game you at least have the reload plays, right? So it's like you can definitely like body your opponents from one side of the map to the other with that kind of rotation. But maybe something like drums would be a bit better. Oh, boom! We'll get the last 2 out. We need to try for the TP away, but that means you are tanking the gang, so Mastery is able to escape.
Yeah, and you're doing this mid-tier rotation top to kill position 4. At the end of the day, yeah, it's okay. You know, they get the Underlord out of the lane too. He had to port back to base, but he's not gonna make a rotation towards maybe the mid lane. Looks like.
He's coming here for the push. I mean, Lightless is already dishing a hell of a lot of damage to this tier 1 tower. I love the Empire. They're just trying to set this really, really rapid pace where it's just, we're going to collapse across the map, take the tier 1s out of the equation by like maybe 15-minute mark and not give you a chance to like play out on the map. You can call out on the Batrider, the root follow up. Nice push away with Flame Break will save his life though. I don't know if you can push this now. Maybe if you see another hero from Viking shop, you rethink this. But right now, it looks like Empire is willing to commit. They brought 4 heroes here for this.
I don't like this rotation by the Underlord at all. I think he should just be running back top. I think potentially even the porting out of there was a mistake back to base. I feel like he could just have ported back to his own tier 1 tower and kind of just return to the lane and sat there. He gave Gyro just some free space to sit in this lane. They went mid. They wasted a bunch of time. They wasted their coil, and it's just kind of unnecessary. He doesn't want to fall behind in levels and farm. You know, he was having such a good time, and you don't need to force this so hard, right? Like, you're gonna scale well with these heroes. If you just sit and farm in lanes, you're not gonna have too many issues. As long as you're keeping tabs on the clockwork to some extent, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I almost felt like the root for error was too high as well. Like, we saw how close they came to, you know, getting a kill on that Batrider if they land that stun. But there's so many variables in that gank attempt that starts with the Dream Call but gets more complicated with each phase. That it does feel like wasted space. Now Gyrocopter, like, he gets a few levels, gets a bit more gold, and that, like, it feels as if you're not pressuring Gyro super early. You allow him to get past this more difficult hurdle they encounter at this stage of the game.
Yeah, he was off to kind of a rough start, and now he's, you know, trying to recover. You can see his net worth is he's almost catching up now to the Underlord and the rest of the Empire heroes.
And he should be able to accelerate past the pulse one on the side of Empire as well, because if you look at Smiling Knight, it's not like he's just rushing straight into Midas. He's going for this Mask of Madness build.
Yeah, and I think this game, it might actually be fine. He doesn't need to be this. They have a Puck, which is not the best hero, like, not the absolute carry, but they have quite a lot of damage anyways in this Puck, and the Lina can scale, you know, into some sort of Axe build where you still deal pure damage. They can do a lot of damage. This Underlord can become tanky and strong and just keep fighting, and so I think this Mask of Madness build is fine.
Aramis will be brought down. They're going to force the TP rotation in. Gyro does arrive as well. Now they're going to move across the hook shot straight on top of James. Cooldown comes in at Ignite as well, and the follow-up stun should enable them to get both kills here. Empire supports go down, and Empire wants to start that fight. So this is all response from Viking. They say, fine, If you want to fight, we're ready to go. The Chrono just about able to hit into Boom as he's on the high ground here. Loser.pro should get him low enough that they're able to find the kill. They need to get out now, though. Smaller Knight doesn't have the time up for a few more seconds, but Toby, he can't kill them all. The tank and the barrier is all together. Shadow's just being ignored at this point. The Rock Barrage will come out to get the kill on Mastery, and Aramis looking for the swap opportunity. He'll get it back onto him with the home missile coming in Smaller Knight's face. They'll be able to find that kill. And Nightless has to move away. The Loser Orb was thrown in the opposite direction, so it's a risky escape. He's able to get out, and Aramis needs to be careful himself as he's extremely low. The Laguna used to just ensure the kill. We have a blood sport occurrence in the mid lane as both teams hemorrhaging a lot of kills.
Yeah, a very back and forth kind of fight. I think with the tower going down, it's totally fine for Empire. Still, it's kind of nice for the Gyro. He gets to survive this entire fight. The Void does go down, so he gets slowed down a little bit. At least he gets to use his Chrono. So, you know, at least now he's used as many Chronos as the last game. And we're only at the 12-minute mark. So
an improvement. I mean, look at him now. See, he's improving all the stats. He didn't have any death last game. He only had 1 kill. He only had 1 assist. He's already matching or getting better. Lightless, however, not feeling good about this. We'll go down.
Yeah, and a very, very greedy play there. He orbs one way, and you know he blinks in and goes for this waning rift to steal some neutral creeps, and then he gets punished by the clockwork hook into pushback, and just a bit too greedy there. You know, trying to make some stylish plays. Not at all necessary at this point.
Yeah, it's the, it feels like a comparative feeling to when you're talking about someone who's like, oh, my Midas has been off cooldown for 5 seconds. Like, yeah, you get a little bit more farm, but right now, like, you need to set that pace. We already highlighted, you know, Puck, it is this type of hero that you walk a fragile game. If you die too many times, your relevance is completely gone. He hasn't had too many deaths yet. Boom, however, is feeling a bit of pain here as he'll be found for the 2nd time. Once again by Lightless.
Yeah, and now we can see that the Gyro has taken the #1 spot on the net worth chart. Some of the other heroes on his team on Viking GG are falling slightly behind, but when you have this Gyro, when you have the Wisp Gyro, you can always make things happen.
That's true, and it's also the case that when you look at the other heroes on Viking, while it is nice on any hero to have more gold, right? It's not these heroes that necessarily require gold to fulfill their functions in the engagements. Lightless.
Yeah, we're gonna have a chase here.
He couldn't quite get there. He was, I think he was about to
gonna dodge it. He has to dodge it.
Wow. Oh, wow. Look at that. Well, Boom, he couldn't dodge it, though. Nice swap out, save the day. And now James is getting extremely low. There's the Chrono again. Connects onto 2. He's just trying for the kill to Aramis. Should be able to find it. Boom should be able to retreat, but the route is there. Nice heal up coming out from Celery. Will keep him alive with a double heal from the mech. And Toby just wanted to let everyone know that he is here. Waves at them as they walk back to their side of the map. Smaller Knight, he didn't dodge it. Only had a built-in ability for this. All in all, good fight. They force Viking here again. They are starting to build a little bit of a lead net worth-wise on Empire. Yeah, Gyrostar's that top spot, but if they keep forcing them away from creeps towards these engagements that are stalemates, it's very obvious that it's going to benefit Empire in those situations.
Yeah, and Empire, I think I mean, like, ideally with this lineup, you want to be slightly ahead. The one thing is, though, that there is this, it's just a 1-core Gyro. And while you have this Wisp Steroid, there are multiple heroes on the Empire side that are going to keep scaling. And they're going to have a lot of...
Wisp. Ooh, okay, he dies pretty quick when he's found alone. And it looks like the fight is going to continue. Eknar tanking a lot. Vikings just need to get out quick because they're coming in. Smart Knight might not have a Chrono, but he's looking to bash up here. Drew Core goes out and Gyro's been found. That's your 1-core lineup without the Eye. Not very tanky at all. Aramis, a little bit slow here to try and escape, courtesy of that time dilation. They will find him as well. And they can turn this into a push on this tier 1 tower to shrink the map.
Yeah, we can see now, like, Empire have a lineup where they have a lot of spells and a lot of tools to be able to fight early. And they also did well in the laning stage. And so now they can just kind of group up and keep going for these fights into pushes. And that's exactly what we're seeing them do here.
Yeah, it feels like the biggest difference between this game and the last one, memes aside about Chronos or whatever, is Empire's understanding of their timing, right? Like, they're very clearly identifying when they can make moves happen on the map, when they can convert objectives. Whereas last game, they did feel like headless chickens.
Yeah. I can also, I don't know, to me at least, from what I've seen in recent games with this Batrider, people rushing these BOTs,
yeah,
I've yet to see anyone be kind of successful with this. You just kind of feel like this hero is just falling behind, and he's not doing enough. He's not dealing enough damage, and you know, I'm just it's just slightly curious.
It definitely feels that way. Hook shot in. Eknar's been found. He's still alive, though. This is such a frustrating kill. The Light Strike Array coming out as well. They'll get the kill, but now in trouble. Drew calling a free. The swap out. Trying to split up the fight a little bit. James gets separated from the puck. Will be brought down. Lightless needs to retreat quickly. Down to half HP. The stun is out on a Smiling Knight as well. He's going to throw that Chrono onto 2. Catches Boom. He can't really get the kill on Gyro. Look at the heals coming up from the IO. He's going to waste the entire Chrono. Smiling Knight needs to get away, but the Master Madness is stopping him. Time Walk away just in time. Lightless able to also escape, but there are still numbers for Viking. And with the Gyro up, they might consider hanging around to push the tower. However, Mastery does arrive. Roots 1 to 2. They're splitting up the fight a little bit. Lightless is getting low, but able to juke and jive away from this. And Celery will be the one to go down. Shad needs to retreat. Toby's going to be chased onto, but does have the cog. It looks like that should be the end of this aggression, but you know, once again, Viking just biting off a little bit more than they can chew, maybe initiating on the wrong targets.
Yeah, it looked like a very good fight for Viking there for a while, but then we saw the nice turnaround with the Chronosphere from the Faceless Void, just realizing he could man up on the Batrider, and then managed to jump away before any stuns were cast on him after the Mask of Madness expired.
Yeah, it feels like Viking are skirting this fine line of we should have enough effective HP in these fights, courtesy the IO. And you can see how close they are to kind of getting over that hump that is Empire's potential nuke. But they're still not there yet. I mean, it's not surprising, right? You've got the Puck, you've got the Lina, even the Underlord. The amount of damage these guys dish out at this stage in the game based on levels alone is significant.
Yeah, Empire definitely are not lacking in the damage department. However, Viking, they might be soon if there's more damage mitigation. Underlord is building towards a pipe. He has a Force Staff like to kind of counteract the clockwork, and it's fine, I think. But once you get this pipe on Underlord, maybe we're gonna see some Greaves, I don't know, Crimsons, things along these lines. I think at that point Viking might struggle with damage.
Yeah, it's not like they're getting damage elsewhere, right? Like if you look at Batrider, he's actually building the BKB next.
Yeah, Clockwork is going for Orchids. Kind of a curious choice here. Gonna see whether it pays off or not.
Well, the problem is the Puck he's almost got the Yules already.
He has the Yules flying out to him, and Void already has his BKB, so we're gonna see how effective he can actually be with his Orchids.
You know what it is? It's that moment, you know when you overestimate the importance of a kill? They saw how long it took them to kill the Enchantress. Like, if he just couldn't cast Nature's Attendant, and I amped up my damage, easy kill.
Dire are scanning.
More likely they're looking at James. I mean, in fairness, James has been pretty impactful in the last few engagements. We'll see if he can actually do it again as they're spoken towards them. Green call out to 2. Aramis trying to wiggle around and buy enough time they can't hit onto him. And it looks like they're getting the gyro away. Aramis will go down the Laguna. Cooldown connects on the 3 though. It's going to slow them down a decent amount here, but they're able to back up to the high ground. And Viking just need to get out. They are ruining themselves again though. They need to be a little bit careful. That should be the end of the engagement. You're kind of happy if you're Viking though, right? That's a smoke into your territory that only nets them a kill onto your Venge. They do still have the Chrono on the side of Empire though.
Yeah, definitely not a big issue just losing your Vengeful at that point. You don't really care that much. He's gonna, you know, he has the clone ready for a little bit, and then he's gonna just restrict kind of quickly because of the low levels.
You cold-hearted son of a POS 1. You know, Venges have feelings too, like that. All right. Oh, that doesn't matter.
Core Venge, maybe. Core Venge, maybe. Support, nah.
Nah, it's fine.
I mean, you literally have a spell where you switch place with an enemy hero or with an ally hero to kind of save them, or kill an enemy and you sacrifice your life.
I mean, you're doing it wrong, Pycat, so they can save you.
Uh-huh.
You know, you swap them into the mess.
Okay.
Speaking of messes, a little bit of exchange. That poor, innocent Venge that has a soul that should be cared about has gone down again, but they make it a trade. They find the Lina in the bot lane.
Yeah, the Lina and the Puck initiated onto the Batrider, and we saw it relocate down to save the Batrider and get a counter kill on the Lina.
It did feel greedy from Empire as well, right? Because they are essentially making that split play on 2 areas of the map, and you know that Viking have the mobility to get involved in multiple locations. If it's not the Batrider, it's going to be this Gyro IO reload.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, they're gonna have to pick one of them, and you know, if they don't pick it the proper way, it might backfire. They could lose multiple heroes, and so I think making multiple plays in different lanes is totally fine here for Empire.
Yeah. The dicey part for Viking, as they do get out, it was close. He had the Chrono available as well. And it's this case of, if the gyro IO is showing, you need to like caution yourself, right? Because you saw how quickly they moved towards top. They realized that obviously the easiest counter to the gyro IO combo reloading in on us is if we just go directly for those targets. Then they can maybe bring one person there and it's like a 3 versus 5 because Viking is so split across this map.
Yeah. We're finally now gonna get the BKB on the Batrider, so he should be able to start, you know, kind of contributing a bit more in these fights now.
Unless he dies at the beginning of them. I don't think they caught a glimpse of that, so they do not know about the BKB. They will now that he's approached the creep wave though. In the bot lane, looks like Clockwork has been caught in the coil. He has got level 1 or level 2 rather hook shot to try and get out. Where can you run though? When he sees there's many heroes, he knows there's no way out. Does force pressure off the other side of the map though, so this should be an opportunity for Viking to just go back to their primary jungle, farm up, while Empire try and rotate back towards their original positioning.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice at least this game, you see what Empire are doing. They're kind of just running around the map, trying to look for these kills. Underlord, he goes to a lane, he pushes it out with one Firestorm, Puck kind of double nukes, and the wave is pushed. And then they're just going from place to place and trying to get kills.
That right there is a chrono. That's how crucial the IO is in the eyes of Smiling Knight. He didn't even hesitate. He didn't try for the first hit bash. He just identified this target right here will have 160-second cooldown.
I mean, he's part of more kills this game at the 22-minute mark. He's part of more than twice as much.
Yeah,
more than twice as many kills as they had last game.
So. Well, he's been part of over 6 times more kills last game. Pretty impressive numbers. Do you think he's maybe getting a bit overzealous in the opposite direction? Like last game, I won't chrono anything. This game, he sees anything, he'll chrono.
We'll see. I think chronoing the IO in a situation like that is completely justified, so no issue with that.
Irby, he knows he's not leaving. No way he's leaving. Back to his base. BKB's come out though. Smiling Knight did use his BKB, but the Lassie to trap him in. However, Mastery, he's not dying quick enough. They'll get out. He's building up for us that he cannot be brought down. And James, yeah, he'll be a casualty. He'll try for the TP out. It's Q's, but Aramis will not let it occur. But all that effort and all you get out of it is a kill on Epoxy Lina.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that Aramis didn't use his swap. He could have either saved the Clockwork, or even he could have used it to swap one of the heroes out of the Underlord, or even the Underlord himself. And that way they could keep the fight going. But he was just holding it, maybe unsure of who to swap, or like what was the right play, and so he just ended up doing nothing. But could have netted them a few more kills.
No, yeah. I know Viking do like to run the core Venge a lot, but Aramis should know that he's not in the core role. But then again, maybe he heard my theory, Pycat. He's like, you're right.
Right.
They should die to save me.
Greedy support players.
I think the way I've been quoted before, because I play a lot of Pass 4, they said, you're not a Pass 4 player. You're just a core that doesn't like responsibility.
Yes. Yeah, that's the easy one, the greedy position 4.
Where it was
you
like,
get all
you
the farm and no responsibility.
It's so nice. The best part is when they're like, why aren't you dying so I can live? Like, bro, I farmed this map more efficiently than you the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, and then you have the Gimp core. While you have the position 4 Lina just shoving all the waves.
Hey, you should have farmed better. It's not my fault that my right-click damage was higher on the lane, all right?
I hear that.
Gotta take responsibility for your own actions. The Empire, I mean, I gotta give them credit. They've done that in this series. Compared to game 1, they've taken full responsibility that they screwed up heavily in terms of just letting Viking always set the pace. This time around, really feels like Viking have almost exclusively been the ones responding to Empire's movements.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of a consequence of the laning stage going how it did. The heroes being stronger in the lanes from Empire, and also the fact that this game they have heroes that can push waves. As you see now, what's happening is you can see top, the creeps are already pushing in close to the tier 3. The mid creeps, there.
Lasso. Oh no, he didn't see the axe on the Batrod. He's actually got stunned up. The Chrono on him as well. Everything to get rid of him, but now the hook shot in, find enough time. Light Strike Array stuns onto him. Nice swap out is going to keep the Batrod alive. Aramis hasn't even gone down. They've tanked all of it. Now Smiling Knight, he goes the wrong way with the Time Walk. They should have the damage to bring him down. The LSA will not work against Shab with his BKB up. And now they'll hunt for more. Eknar, is in range of the TP out from Mastery. They do get a buyback out of Aramis. They don't want to achieve much as Empire are able to get the rest of their heroes out here. They did lose the Void at a critical moment as well, because this is the Roche that both these teams need desperately to start taking control of this game.
Yeah, it's a pretty scary Roche to go for. I think you at least want to get a few more kills if you're going to try this Roche.
They're trying, but it's so hard, right? When you look at the heroes on Empire, how much they have to commit for that Void kill, for example. Like, the only easy kill is maybe James. With all this cast range, you never see him close enough to the fight to pick off.
Yeah, and I think actually we're going to see a swap into the Underlord here.
LSA, Aramis is stunned up. Mastery is not really taking anywhere enough damage. The hook shot into pushing back into it. The Dream Core means that they can't run after him, but they will bring Mastery back to them. And that is going to be the dieback on Aramis. The Laguna does not do anywhere near enough damage to Steroid. The sun's coming out from Lightless. He did chase in. He has the illusion to get away. I think Viking have bitten off more than they can chew now. They need to retreat.
Yeah, I actually think this was quite a big mistake on Aramis's part here. I think his buyback was completely unnecessary. And it's also one of those scenarios where you feel like, and he maybe feels like, well, now he bought back and now we have to do something with this buyback. And that's kind of how it felt in that scenario just now, where they feel like they're forced to go Roche because the Venge bought back to kind of justify the buyback. And then they are forced into this awkward Roche versus Puck and Underlord. And so they trade off the Venge for the Underlord. And you might think it's good, but now at this point, I think it might just end up being Empire who are able to take this Roche. We're going to see how it continues, but maybe slightly unnecessary there from the Venge to just buy back.
Yeah, it's just the sequence of events, the way they approach these fights, right? The only clear target for them most times that is showing is this Underlord. But he is at that point where, given your kind of effective net worth of the game, your items, your damage output, it's not enough to get him over that hurdle and make him a quick kill, which means you're wasting so much time on the Underlord. And you look at the heroes that Empire have, they thrive on this lack of pressure applied to them, right? The Puck, the Lina, the Enchantress, the amount of damage these heroes put out when unhinged and unhindered in the fights is ridiculous. Lightless, he does get silenced up. They should have enough damage to kill him off the balls. They do get the kill. So no Puck for 65. Could they Roche with this? I don't think so, right?
The Orchid's coming in very handy there. He had wasted the Yules already and he uses the Orchids. And yeah, they could potentially Roche here. There's no buyback on the Puck. They don't really know whether he has buyback or not, but I would not be surprised. There's going to be a DD spawning top in one. No. I mean,
Close enough.
if it works, it works, right? And then, so.
This is you're learning quickly, like that. The whole idea is to speculate a bunch of crap, be wrong 98% of the time, but there's 2%.
2%, you look really good. So
yeah, like imagine the people that bet on Empire right now to win game 2, right? When the odds were looking how they were, right? They're like, everyone else is an idiot. Although I will give Viking credit, they're making sure that this net worth lead that Empire has doesn't grow. It's been at 3K every time I've looked at it.
Yeah, and I also think maybe Empire have had some small part to play in this. I think the last engagement was kind of awkward by them. There's going to be a Daedalus picked up now by the Void. Maybe assemble it. And then we might see them try to smoke up here.
Oh, he's just straying.
I'm very curious, why is Void not... He has this locked...
Radiant are scanning.
I don't think he's realized, if I'm going to be telling also there's one Pycat. Considering you could also have a Wraith Band right now. It's not just the item's not complete, you're stopping yourself from using your other stat item.
Help.
You know what? He didn't want it to be too one-sided when he beats the crap out of Rush.
Fair,
he might want it to be one-sided when he fights Viking, though, because they're prepped and ready. Boom is looking for an initiation. He sees anyone, he'll go for it. Especially with those spider legs now. He drag them up to the high ground.
What is happening right now? This is all I can focus on right now.
It's the carry player, and you're like, I wouldn't do this. Why is he doing this right now? He just has to unlock the item.
It happens to the best of us,
Variety is the spice of life, Bycat. Usually we're getting tilted by people not picking up cheeses. All right, this is something else to focus on.
We might see some sort of initiation here. Bat is looking for any good sort of target. Any target that is not the Enchantress can be useful to initiate on. Yeah, the Underlord might also not be the best since he's very tanky, but they could potentially bring him down as well.
Yeah, you know if they see Puck, that's an insta-go, because that's the biggest threat right now that he's got that axe. And he goes in, Dream Call out onto the Batrider. Well, he was looking to initiate, he got initiated on, he's just randomly dodging about. Nice reload out, but that does mean you might find it a bit dicey to try and breach this Roche engagement opportunity. Smiling Knight, he has got that chrono. They move on top of Toby. He's got the Orchid if he needs to silence someone. And there it is, last two straight in. The Lotus returns it, though. They need to actually silence up the Void, but it doesn't matter. He's got his BKB. Chrono goes out on the free. Buyback comes out from the clockwork. He dies almost instantly. Boom. Is being brought low, able to move away because the bash damage is magical. Mastery trying to get his team out. They need to stack up and look to escape. They haven't got the damage. Because they're stacked, the Rocket Barrage cannot focus on Underlord, but they did leave Puck behind. Toby needs this kill. His buyback was committed. It needs to be for something. You see an attempt to move away. Lightless will just try and juke him. He'll blink past them after using up the Venge, and it looks like he's actually going to be away from this. Manages to make his escape, and that's a big buyback forced as well now that Toby won't have it. They might think about going back into that pit once Lena's back up.
Yeah, once again, I feel like Aramis he's just kind of holding on to his swap. He could have saved the clockwork once again, and maybe he's following your... Maybe he heard you, you know? He got the memo of don't save your allies, just save yourself.
There you go. He's probably sitting there, he's like, Clock, you haven't used your silence yet. Use your Orchid, then I'll swap you out.
And I actually think in that fight, the Void would have killed the IO if he had combined his Crystallis into Daedalus.
You know, you're not gonna let that one go, are you? Even if Smaller Knight wins this game. LSA, Toby, he needs to be careful. He did buy back before. BKB from Boom, trying to do damage to Eknart. Eknart trying to move away under the protection of the Glimmer Cape. The Bash has come out in a Batrider. He needs to actually use that last super. The Lotus is stopping him, and he's getting low. He's going to be brought down and killed off. They will actually force the buyback straight away. Mastery did die, so the damage they can output is going to be much more noticeable in this fight as there's no longer the protection from the Underlord. And James will feel that wrath and fury of the Gyrocopter as he gets brought down. They are hunting past tier 2s. They seem to have forgotten they haven't taken out any tower in this lane yet. So they'll ping it, go for that tier 1. And Roche has still not been touched. There's been some pokes, there's been some prods, but neither team feeling comfortable. There's no chrono for 55. If Viking want to go, this is probably the best opportunity they're going to get in the next 2-3 minutes. Especially with a DD. But instead they're reloading down. They're hunting. If they see the DD, they should be straight for the pit. Oh, look at that. Exactly what the doctor ordered. This could be quite a fast one as well.
He's starting to look pretty big now with the butterfly, SNY, the BKB drums, etc. Now he's most likely going to end up with an Aegis here unless Empire managed to reach there in time. The chrono's still on cooldown for 15 seconds, so it's going to be a quick Roche. A nice Clops kind of protecting there.
Yeah. They'll slow Shad down by a second or two, but there's no easy way to go about this. They can try for the steal. LSA to come in. Oh, they get it. Aegis picked up by Lightless. Now the Dream Call goes down. BKB from Shad just needs to move away and needs to be careful. Eknart being harassed away. Smiler Knight will make his escape. He has got the chrono to work with, but no BKB. He's just going to hit onto Toby in the meantime. And they are slowing Smiler Knight down. He needs to actually run away. I don't think they can get the kill on the clockwork here. They'll have to leave behind Eknart. He's going to die, but Lightless. And he's going to be happy with that one. He'll go for the TP away, and they do have the damage. I said he was going to be happy with that one. Now he may be in a little bit of trouble. He does have the mana to escape. They don't really have the way of stopping him. He'll be able to look to make his escape, but nope, there's the Orchid. Yules. This should just be a move out, but the swap is going to come out beautifully timed, and I think Puck's going to go down here. Yeah, Lightless is dead.
Yeah, but that was so clumsy. I mean, there was the perfect pushback by the clockwork, and he just swaps him out of it, but they get the kill nonetheless. Nice steal by the Puck, but in the end, it didn't matter.
Yeah, they need to be careful. It feels like Empire haven't identified how big that loss was around the pit. Because they're still posturing as if there's some sort of rebuttal waiting to happen.
And maybe this was the idea all along by Smiling Knight. I'm not sure, but like now he has the MKB and he has the Crystallis. But I'm just curious as to why he has this Daedalus recipe in his inventory.
I think he was close to buying, and we'll pause on that thought because Master's being jumped onto, hook shot in. Smiling Knight does commit the chrono. They need to actually get rid of one of these targets. Instead, they realize they have the damage to Gyrocopter. They don't have to force Celery's death first. But Celery, he won't be able to escape. They had full detection on him. Boom, in a lot of trouble alongside Toby as well. They're trying to make their escape. They say if we split up, the odds are neither of us are going to live. As they'll just hunt down Clockwork after they finish off the kill on the Batrider. And 4 members of Viking are dead. They got a little bit greedy. They stacked it a little too hard. And they got reminded that there is a chrono void in this game.
Yeah, nice chrono coming out there. And probably Gyro kind of being caught off guard by the fact that he now has an MKB. So all the hits landing, and he's able to deal enough damage to burn through even the region from the IO.
And on that matter, like we were discussing just before that fight happened, I guess he saw that Gyro had components of the butterfly and immediately understood that like there's clearly more value in this MKB. But he'd already bought the Daedalus recipe at that point, right? Like maybe it was
definitely
already
a
flying
possibility.
out. Yeah.
Dire structures are fortified.
You give him the benefit of the doubt.
I think we are willing to do that this game. You know, if this wasn't such a difference from last game, we might still judge him a little bit. But, you know, he's proven his haters wrong. He's like, okay, I'll admit some funky stuff happened in game 1, but try and find flaws in my gameplay game 2. 9-2-12 on this Void. He's definitely been a lot more present this time around.
Yeah, he's working on redeeming himself from the last performance.
That makes the victory all this much sweeter, right? Like, I was getting a little bit worried the only comeback we were going to see was that rock, paper, scissors fight on the panel. But this is looking like we could end up with a game 3 at this rate. Like, if I can have the moments, but Empire keeps striking back just as hard.
Yeah, and then the question remains, like, if should this go to game 3, is there gonna be another faceless Void, and what will that performance look like? Is it gonna be, is it gonna just keep increasing the performance, or are we gonna see something completely different at that point?
I mean, that could be the plan, right? 'Cause, you know, if you set such a low expectation in the first game, right, it's just rising from there. Like, you know, that's your bottom level, all right? You can't really do much worse than that, and then you just look to trend upwards. Like a sales forecast, you know, it always looks more impressive when the graph shows the movement upwards. Constantly.
Right, I see. Okay, so just going upwards with the performance on the faces Void.
Exactly.
That.
Whereas, you know, you look at comparison for Aramis, you know, like the Vengeful Spirit in the series, you know, hasn't had as many opportunities to look flashy this time, so his graph looks a bit more wiggly and woggly and all over the place.
Yeah, and I think one thing, like, this Roche fight, kind of where the puck manages to steal the Aegis, he does end up going down and a bunch of heroes go down. But if he had not done this, you know, this would have been a fight versus a Gyro with the Aegis, and that would have looked completely different. The Gyro would have come back to life and just been able to keep fighting. But since he doesn't have that Aegis, you know, maybe somewhere in the back of his mind, he thinks he does have it, you know, because they just killed it. But then he just ends up going down to this faceless Void damage.
I see. So your theory is like he done that big critical mistake you always got to get out of the habit of, where you plan out the next 10 minutes perfectly in your head. That's how it's going to go down.
Yeah,
And
I mean, not so much just, I mean, it doesn't have to be the 10 minutes. It's just the fact that, you know, like,
It's the
he
future.
doesn't expect, he doesn't expect this chrono to be coming out. And I think I have yet to see kind of Aramis really be, well, I mean, even very useful in these fights, you know. He's getting picked off very early on, or he's kind of just like standing around and, you know, watching some of the fight take place and not using, I feel at least, the swap when he should be. So
It's not like you could sit here and go, well, I've at least been garnering a lot of gold because I've had this Philosopher's Stone. He's the poorest person in the game. It's not like, you know, he hasn't got 2 free active items that he needs to be able to use in those fights. So, like, there's more value in his utility. Like, yes, you have a Solar Crest, but that's it. Maybe it's because of the puck coils. He's like, well, I could swap you out, but you're going to be stunned so long, they'll still find you. But even then, it does feel like he's skirting the edge of the fight in the role of a Venge support where you're, like, looking to save someone with swaps, but the follow-through is never there.
yeah, and maybe he needs something along the lines of a Glimmer Cape or, I don't know, Ether Lens to make it easier to use this, but kind of looking at him to step up a little bit in these fights and, you know, do what he has to do.
Oof. Viking, they want any opportunity to make this a 2. Like, how long they got left? You can kind of understand the kind of anxiousness to play, right? Because obviously these guys had to wait. I think it was about an hour extra to start because China went long today. And of course, these guys, whoever wins this series, they're gonna have to play again at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's also just something with just in general pausing in Dota. It's just like it kind of throws you off. Like, you lose your momentum, you know, like you get thrown off a little bit, and it's never fun having to wait for a pause in Dota. Yeah, I don't really want to, you know, like, it's not my place to say whether this is the right thing or not to do, but you can understand it at least.
You kind of take advantage. You can, yeah, that's human nature. But who's like the most fervent I'm trying to find a nice way to say it. Who's the most actively vocal about pause time, like in your experiences when it comes to pro games? Like they're the ones going, how long left? Are we ready to go? Have they been given their penalty yet? That sort of thing.
That's a good question, actually. I think it depends on tournaments and kind of on the. Like, I know, for example, when I played with Peter, PPD, he could be kind of. I mean, the thing is like this, though. I feel like he would do it in scenarios where he felt like either the tournament organizer or the enemy team had somehow done something wrong.
Yeah.
You know, if there was just someone that you had respect for, he wouldn't. You know, he would just. You know, like he would just be like anyone else. But if someone he felt that there was, you know, some wrongdoing, then he would be vocal kind of about it.
Well, I respect that. Like that, I was definitely thinking the one that came to mind for me was PPD. Like he's got that confidence to like demand that, you know, if there is kind of what he feels is an infringement on the rules or something's not being done correctly, he's not the type of person who's gonna just kind of sit back and share and go, okay. Like he won't take it laying down.
Yeah, no. He would not. We've encountered a few of those. I think there are a few players out there who are somewhat similar in that sense.
I think usually it's like your captains have to be that way, right? Like, you know, you're kind of fighting for your team's like angle in the discussion. So if you're too shy to raise any points you have,
yeah,
then you're going to be outshadowed. Moved by Viking. Not going to land any kills for them. You can feel a fragile state in this game, right? Because there is exposures on both sides. Like, if Void dies right now, no buyback. Gyro, no buyback, but he's almost got it at least.
Now,
yeah.
No,
but
definitely
like,
in somewhat of a volatile state. Puck, no buyback for another 5 minutes, and also no gold. So him going down could be a big issue.
Yeah, he's well protected because he has got that Lincolns now. So
yeah,
not the easiest opening target. This just feels like a kind of game where one person's actually actively trying to sink people's battleships, and the others are just trying to, you know, cruise around the map. You can just see Empire like, oh, they're here, they're definitely here, and Viking like, no, you don't. We're just gonna shift to the left again.
Yeah, but we do see this Empire. They're kind of just running around and taking out all the vision from Viking. They just placed these wards, and now all of the wards are just gone. So their map is kind of dark. You're gonna see a smoke up. They need to find a good target here.
The dangling shard. So he does have that buyback. Boom. Uh-oh. He knows something's not right, but you don't find the high ground. He'll go around. Like that LSA coming out. They're a little bit worried that there maybe would be a jump on Lightless as he tries to retreat.
And this is the difficult thing. They're running into vision without having any vision themselves. So
yeah,
never.
You can see they were trying to get rid of that vision as well.
Yeah. They placed this kind of sneaky ward here on the, not on the high ground, but you know the.
It's the I hope they don't flank us ward, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If they don't, feels wasted. But on the off chance they do, like that's a kind of critical flank that could win the game for Empire. So you have to invest the money like that. And Egnar, he's such a frustrating target right now. Almost 2k HP, Glimmer Cape, Solar Crest. It's not the entry kill you were hoping it would be at this stage in the game.
And a double damage in the bottle of Void now. This could be very, very ugly.
Unlikely to be pretty. Maybe gets baited into going on Gyro, who is the one with the buyback. So like, if you're Viking, is that kind of your Gambit's play, right? Like, yeah, we would lose the Gyro, but we could then fight on equal terms with Empire.
It's really hard to say. You never really want to just sacrifice your Gyro. There's gonna be an Underlord ult.
Well, the Dream Call has been tested and found wanting. Boom is able to get away.
Tide is two-faced.
They're just buying time. Roche could be up in just over a minute. Viking will be aware of this, so they need to kind of prep themselves ready for the next engagement. You can see Shad, yeah, he might end up in a scenario where he has to choose between Daedalus and buyback.
Yeah, and it kind of, I'm starting to feel like they're kind of a little bit low on damage now. So I wouldn't really mind him picking up this Daedalus, I think.
Yeah,
he's gonna try to go for
gold.
Yeah.
Buyback.
Yeah, he wants both.
Boom. He refused to use that BKB. Oh. Okay, they forced the TD out. he has got to be thanking Gabe and RNGs at the same time that was not a bash, though.
Yeah, and Void held onto the chrono. I think it's fine. You could chrono there. You don't know if there's going to be a swap, and also the Bat Rider might have a buyback. So if you waste your chrono on the Bat, who then buys back, and then you have to fight for Roche, that could put you in a very awkward position.
Yeah, whereas now you've at least forced the BKB out. You forced them back to the base at the moment. Like, you can already see they're shrinking the map to the extreme, and they've got a Kura in the pit ready to find out when it's going to come up. And it looks like it's going to be a minute spawn. So this should favor Viking. It allows them to be in a situation where they'll have buyback to the gyrocopter, and he now has that dataless.
Yeah, so pretty much the only player without buyback right now is Puck, and it's not for another minute.
Taking a Puck, trying to stop this Lassie dragon on the James, but he's brought low and killed off pretty quickly here. Buyback does come out quite early. He's looking to get involved in the fight, but Viking have split themselves up a little here. They don't want to give that max value chrono to Small and Knight. And Jaro hits particularly hard at this stage, as we're seeing, especially with Avenge in range with that aura still. On the side, Celery's been found. He's been silenced up as well, so he can't look to move away just yet. But he sidesteps the pit and is able to get a long escape towards Shad. And now Smiling Knight needs to be careful himself. They force out the BKB. The Chrono's going to be there straightforward on his Celery. He needs to go for the swap play, but he's not doing it. And his Shad's going to be brought down. He does have buyback. Io has his buyback already been used. As he gets back into this, they didn't want to go for the double buyback reload play. Instead, they'll just let them back up. They're like, okay, you don't have Chrono now. So they could try and bait this situation where Empire goes into the pit and they buy back for the reload play.
Yeah, I feel like he really dropped the ball on this one again. I think he didn't swap the IO out, which, yeah, okay, it's fine. I could see a case where you swap the IO out as well, because then the IO can save the gyro. You can just relocate him out, and at that point, the Chrono's just wasted. And then he also, instead of swapping the gyro out of the Chrono, he tries to swap the Faceless Void out, who is then Lotus Orb, so nothing happens. And with that, a dead gyro... Yeah, dead gyro, a free Roche, and Aegis on the Faceless Void, and now a very difficult position for Viking.
I mean, Viking should at least be able to get up to the full strength, right? 35 seconds, the gyro is up. They were able to find a kill into James, but I also love the fact that even though he has brought back, that is his dieback, he respects that he just needs to be this damage absorption target outside the pit, far away. So it's like your early warning beacon for Team Empire.
Yeah, losing the Lina is not the end of the world. He has no buyback, but it's okay. They're still gonna just wait for this Chrono, another 70 seconds. Not sure, they might wait for the Butterfly on the Faceless Void, and then they're gonna go when the Lina's back and when the Chrono is ready.
Meanwhile, Viking, they're going. They're smoked up, they're moving out. If they could find a target like Lilas, is perfect. They have the means to pop the Lincolns and then go for him. They are hunting right now. Ready to reload. A matter of seconds.
Yeah, and I don't like this play at all, I think. I understand that Lina's dead and they don't have Chrono for a bit, but the thing is, they're trying to do this while all their lanes are pushing. And it's just not going to happen.
It does feel very choreographed, because the other factor that you got to consider is Shad's positioning, right? Like, they were under wards. You can see how defensive his location is farming-wise. So, it's it's not a case of they're dangling the gyro and waiting behind them.
Yeah, a bit too easy to read that one, I think. There's gonna be another double damage on the Faceless Void now.
Of course, because, the first one, it seems only fair, like that. His first DD never got its own moment in this, Starlight. All it did is force the BKB.
Oh, they're gonna use Coil on the Illusionist Cape up here.
The best part is they're not even stopping it from, doing this piece. They just take it as their own member of the army for 10 seconds and then walk it off. All right, that's a little bit of an awkward moment. Shad says, that's okay. Let's see if they want to use any other big spells. Maybe Chrono this time? I mean, this Illusionist Cape illusion does hit pretty damn hard.
Yeah, there's this Underlord here, and you really don't want to go on this guy.
Yeah, Boom had the BKB just to try and escape. He doesn't want to give over that gem, so he will retreat to the south. They do ping Toby. They're trying to enclose upon him, and the Chrono goes down for the clockwork kill alone, and it will get it. Even use the DD to make sure it occurs. Does that Chrono feel right, though? I feel like that one may have been the awkward Chrono of the game.
Yeah, I don't really see any big point in using Chrono there. Yeah, you get a kill, but now you're not going to have Chrono for 150. You might not get to use your Aegis. Maybe you'll get to use it towards the end of it with the next Chrono when it's ready, but you waste your DD and this to just kill a Clockwork, and maybe they're able to force out a buyback because they're gonna go hit this base, but they could also just this Void could get dragged into the base if he's not careful, and he could be in an awkward position.
Yeah, and it didn't even feel like an instant keys to the base situation, right? Like, you had to run across the map to get to this stage where you're sieging the base. Now, getting through it pretty quick, even with that repair kit there. LSA does stun up Shad. Mastery is stuck in the base a bit long, is able to get forced after way, but you don't get the building, and you're not going to force the buyback because the creeps aren't going to arrive in time for a second push. Like, yeah, you get that tier 2 bot, but considering what you just committed, the stage in the game you're at, like the control you have as Empire, this feels like the minimal reward you could have got for your efforts.
Yeah, you're getting some damage on the mid tower. I don't know if they still have a repair kit. They maybe do. Yes, they still have 2 charges, and they get a bottom tower, but yeah, in the end, maybe not the most ideal way to use this chrono.
No, and you're not really in this safe position as soon as that Aegis has gone, right? Because yeah, Void has buyback, but a big part of their initiation, a big part of the plan for success has been Lightless, and he's still almost 2k gold away from buyback. So he is a big weakness in their lineup if he gets jumped on first. Speaking of jumping on, Dream Call attempted. Close but no scar.
Was it another Illusionist cape or?
I think that was just Boom was slightly out of range. It's either that or Lightless really likes the pretty custom effect he gets from his gear.
Right. Yeah.
It is
so
quite.
MKB out now on the gyrocopter, so he is going to be able to deal with that butterfly on the Void.
They're trying to force him response to defend Boom. Swap out, there it is. Keep him alive. Aramis gets relocated out as well. They're trying to keep everyone alive, and it's actually going to work. They're going to get away with this. And there's the Aegis gone. This is the backup time. Even when you've got Chrono, you realize now the way that has just occurred, you haven't forced enough out of Viking to fight them straight up.
Yeah, and finally we actually saw, a proper swap come out. Not trying to get the enemy or anything, just swap your ally out.
You know what it is? It's because he's got a flicker now. He's like, oh, well, I will swap myself into Death Zone and then press the button and pray to RNGesus.
Mm-hmm. Seems reasonable to me.
Yeah, it's like, when people, they plan the draft around like level 25 talents. Aramis has planned his playstyle around getting the correct tier 4 item.
Oh, and another
Lightless
coil. I'm not sure if the coil is broken or if he's just not... I'm not sure what's happening here.
Well, it's kind of worrying because the use of the ultimates in general in this game have been getting worse as time has gone on. And it almost feels like Lightless thinks maybe we're criticizing the amount of ults he was using last game, and now he feels the need to throw it out all the time. In fairness, with that Dream Core, though, you kind of can't blame it. It's a 45-second cooldown. But in those 45 seconds, they look to start a fight already. Boom, BKB's up, moves away. Shad is able to retreat. Mastery has no mana left, so I don't know if they're going to pursue this too hard, but Smiling Knight is coming. He has got the Chrono. Moving in, Lightless. Let's get the Yules out. Sans as well, and an AoE. Now there's a Chrono straight in on top of the gyrocopter to bring down Shad. They'll be able to get rid of Celery as the next target, and he does get killed off by the big crits. And now they'll turn, looking on Aramis, able to bring him down as well. Buybacks will come out. They need to punish this now that all the big ultimates have been used. They chase him, but they lose Clockwork instead. He's going to buy back. I was still dead for 100 seconds, but they do find the kill on Delina. Chase him forward looking for more, but Smart Knight's able to move away with the Time Warp. Has the cheese to work with. So it's not going to be an easy one to bring down anyway. They get some big crits and a solid stun. Yeah, they can do the business, but that's a big ask. Mastery is going to be stunned on the side. Lois to try and protect himself from any follow-up. BKB from Boom to make sure he doesn't get followed up himself. Puck is able to move away. Eknar is going to be stunned up and chased onto in the meantime as Viking ensure they at least get a kill on the Bambi. So 2 dead on the side of Empire. Roche could spawn in just a minute's time. If you get the most glorious 2-second maximum spawn time on Roche, Viking, they could put themselves in a good position here.
There's going to be a DD bottom, but once again, Aramis completely dropping the ball on this one. He swaps the gyro out when he's already dead and forcing the gyro to buy back. And I think that was just like a very easy... He was in a completely fine position and he could have just swapped the gyro out, but I'm not sure exactly what it is, if he's just hesitating too much. But causing the gyro to be forced to buy back now. You are going to see the Rose Timer soon.
And it's not just the gyro as well. It's 3 heroes that are forced to buy back in that situation. Those heroes have been looking for a play, but they can't find it. Mastery should be able to TP out of this. And now it's a question, what do you do as Viking? Let's see if the gods favor you. 2 seconds until Roche could spawn. And then
Instant
gods
spawn.
hate you. They hate you.
Dude.
No, they hate you.
Nope.
But like, when was the last time, Viking, that you picked Zeus? He's a god. You didn't pick him. You don't love gods. We don't love you. Minute and a half until Roche is up.
And we're gonna see an A on this on the gyro here, and this is like, this is some weird thing because he has his teammate, and his teammate is supposed to swap him out, but he doesn't feel safe because it's just not happening, and looks so awkward now. Like, you really want to have something along the lines of a Satanic or, Rapier, whatever. Like, you want more damage, you want to be stronger in these fights, but he feels like he has to buy an Aeon Disc, and this is very awkward.
Yeah. This is like, part of this has been caused by that Lincoln's pickup because we said, that stops you being able to swap out Empire's members. But like, really, in these engagements, Aramis always has had the option to swap out the Lord and Savior Shad, and quite often not feeling like he was able to do it in a good position.
Maybe he just didn't have his morning coffee, or
warm up.
Maybe it's something else. Maybe Shad said something rude to him before the game. He's like, just swap me out, you idiot. And then he's like, nah.
Maybe help is disabled.
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine that? After this, you just check your options and realize why you never got swapped, and it was your fault all along.
To be fair, he got swapped. He was already dead.
That's true. He has been swapped, so we can't use that excuse. Aramis maybe, I don't know, overrating his auras. Oh, this time he's thinking about, am I the core? Do I swap Toby in? He decides against it, but now he's dead for 110 seconds, and Rose just came up. Empire, they're looking at this, and they have to it's a feels-good moment. They can do whatever the hell they want. They're going to pursue forward, see if they can find a secondary pick-off, and then they'll immediately turn around, turn their eyes on this poor lad who's been sitting alone in the pit for all of 10 seconds before his face is going to be murdered.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Yeah, this is going to be a free Roche. It's going to be a refresher shard here. Most likely going the way of Puck. It's not the quickest Roche.
There we go. They seemed a bit hesitant. I think until they saw Gyro IO bot, they were concerned about some sort of play out the clockwork, right? Like, that's the thing that's always in your mind when you go for these Roches is they do have a clockwork. Check all angles of approach.
Okay, so they're going to give the Aegis to the Faceless Void. And they're also going to give him the Refresher Orb. Maybe tired of seeing the Puck just whiff those coils.
I think he maybe wants some more stats on the Faceless Void then, because if he doesn't have full mana, double chrono.
Yeah, I mean, he might fight. He might try to fight, like waste the Aegis and then get back with the Refresher Orb and try to fight again. Just some idea.
Yeah.
But maybe he just doesn't want to see the double flowers next to each other, doing nothing. So
they are pretty. Well,
they're not bad.
Instead, we see Lightless go, well, if I can't hit my spells, I'll just go for target runs. He's going to be going towards the Dagon build, finish himself up at this stage. There's not really much more Puck can build in this game, unless you go 2 more hours and decide it's right-click time.
Yeah, you could go something like the Scythe. There's no Lotus Orb so far on the Dire lineup, so Scythe of Ice wouldn't be the worst choice, but Dagon is also a fine option.
Cool down with a repair kit to try and slow down this push, but Empire, they want objectives. Glyph has been forced. Viking don't have an easy way of getting the next wave before it arrives. They're going to be forced to fight soon. There's a lot of balls around Smiling Knight, which means there's none around Underlord. They do actually hit with the call this time. Mastery down to half HP already. Starts on the Void. He doesn't want to use that BKB just yet. He is sustained through this, though. Laguna on the Batrider. Jump in straight away. Smiling Knight does get swapped even deeper. BKB. Chrono goes on to free. Straight away, wailing into Aramis to get rid of him quickly. We'll move across to the additional target of Toby. But Toby's maybe a little bit too tanky. The Hex is good enough, though, to bring him down. They chase forward for more. Smiling Knight looking to end this game right now. He goes to the Juggler. Io tries to eliminate him. LSA comes out on the boom. BKB from Shad just to try and retreat. Io does buy back to protect him, but they hunt for more. Smiling Knight wants this kill, and with the bashes, he might be able to get it. LSA is off the mark because the BKB is running just long enough. They do hit him up again with that Princess Knife. He's been doing a lot of work so far, but Empire see the opportunity to try and end this game. They're hitting those tier 4s. Cheese does get eaten. They decide, wait, no, the game isn't over. The gyro is still a factor, and a dangerous one at that. So they'll go for the easier buildings first. Open up, push in with the creeps. Long time dead for members of Viking. No buybacks available. It's all on Shad, and this is going to become obvious very quickly. LSA jump in on the Shad. He's going to be brought down, and I do believe we are going to require a 3rd game here. What a turnaround from Empire in game number 2.
Yeah, and you really don't want to just pin the whole thing on one person, but I do think that a lot of this comes down to the fact that they were like, the swaps weren't there when they were supposed to be, and a lot of these fights I feel like were lost or were kind of turned the wrong way.